Alright, so here's the actual lap with nothing, with no attachment in it. So here's a set screw. Then you just pick your proper size for bushings, or laps, or pivots, whatever. Laps. Your barrels. So that's a 280. I was using that for a HOM the other day. You just kind of line it up in there, set it down, and here's your plunger for the corresponding die, I guess you would call it. So main thing is you're putting heavy pressure on the actual base, because that's what's keeping you square. And then light pressure on this. It's really hard to fuck up on here. The only way I've found where I've fucked up is if you're going, like if you have like, an 1/8 of an inch to take off of length of a pivot or a bushing, like a whole 0.125, and you decide to get a little over aggressive. If you're going to do that, make sure you're holding it down and not to the left or right, because when you're going to go hard and fast, direct pressure is going to be needed, because you don't want to get a little angle to it. But even if you do get a little bit of an angle where it's 1/2 of a thousandth off, when you go to refine it, because you're not going to go that rough the whole way. Once you get within a couple thousandths, you're going to start slowing down and checking every now and then, and you're going to be on different grit paper. So when that situation happens, even if you got a little bit of a off, like one side's just a 1/2 a thousandth over and it's not even, when you get to those softer, more precise tunings where you're lighter and less and checking more often, it'll start squaring itself off. But it's a very rare occurrence, and it only happened to me when I was taking off like 1/8 of an inch or more, and I just decided to say fuck it and go hard. A good method is, as you're making all these knives custom from hand, so you might be dealing with pivot and bushing stock that's way longer than you need it. You get a cheap disc grinder, convert it so it's upright in your tabletop, so that way on your little workbench you got a section here that has a spinning disc of sandpaper, and then you can just run this along there without having to worry about moving your hand, applying proper downward force with the plunger fingers, and applying the heavy force with bat. It's like trying to shoot a handgun with a trigger pull that's 10 pounds. You're never going to steady the shot. So if you had something moving underneath this, like a disc, a disc sander or whatever, you can just hold that there, and you can only have to worry about the pressure of this instead of actual, there's less things you have to control.